Guys, next up is the reasonable man tonality. Now, this is absolutely the most important tonality of all the 10 core tonalities. And the reason is that if you mess up your entire sales presentation, but you say the final closing just right, and you say it with the perfect words, there's actually a chance you're going to close the deal still, believe it or not. So, it conveys rationality and logic, and when done right, like I said, if your entire presentation wasn't perfect, it's okay. And you can use this when you're asking permission for anything, and you use it at the end of your presentation, and you also use this during objections. One of the key things with this is pacing. You have to slow down slightly. You can't really rush through this one. So, like when you're asking somebody a question, you have to ask them for permission. Like you're asking them for permission to go through the features and benefits of a solution, or you're asking them for a couple minutes of their time. You, so you have to sound like a reasonable man. Like, when we're at that closing pattern, just to finish that tritonal closing pattern, we start with absolute certainty, drop into utter sincerity, and then we finish with the reasonable man. So it's sound fair enough? Sound fair enough? So, Joe, if you give me one shot, you'll be very, very impressed. Sound fair enough? So that upward inflection at the end is incredibly important. So when we're using this to ask for permission, you got a minute? It sounds like reasonable. It's like, yeah, I got a minute. Why not? I got a minute. Joe, would you mind if I showed you the features and benefits? Yeah, I wouldn't mind if you showed me the features and benefits versus, hey, would you mind if I showed you the features and benefits? Sounds a little bit hard, right? So, do you mind if I showed you the features and benefits? That little upward inflection, you're giving that yourself a little bit more power over that prospect and making sure that you're keeping their brain thinking, yeah, this guy sounds reasonable. Sounds like a good guy. Yeah, it sounds fair. That's kind of how we get people to close, right? Of course it is. Talk soon, guys. We'll be on to the next tonality, which is the money aside.